Nobody likes anything that is boring. Well, to be really honest, I certainly do not. I try to make things as creative, as interesting as possible. Hi everyone, my name is Hridhaan, and in today's lesson, I bring to you the 15 most commonly used and boring words in English language. Can you see this emoticon yawning? Well, this is something that we are talking about. Everybody yawns when people use boring words in English. And people want to hear something really nice. People get inspired when you use something that is an alternative of that. And that is what we're going to be talking about. 15 words and the two other alternatives of those words that you can use in your daily life as you use them. Let's get started. Oh my God! The most boring word that could ever exist on this planet. How can we change good? We can say pleasant and delightful. For example, a lot of time people say, it is good to see you, or it was a good performance. Well, really, you can actually have so many other ways of saying exactly the same thing and sound more appreciative. You can say, it was delightful meeting you. Oh my God, the entire sense of it really changes. Let's see how we can use it. I had a pleasant time on my travels abroad last year. I had a good time. I had a pleasant time. You felt really calm, you felt really composed, and very nice and very good. And instead of good, you're saying pleasant. The next example is, it was quite delightful to see you after so many years last year. Last night, for that matter. So the person saying, I was delighted. And the overall experience of meeting you after so many years was delightful. So thank you for meeting me. Good changes to pleasant. Whatever in your life you want to suggest, you want to call good, replace it with delightful and pleasant. And make sure that you add this to your vocabulary right this moment. The next word that we have is happy. Equally boring. How can you say happy? You can use elated and euphoric. Well, let me just show you the degree of this word as well. If happy is here in the pyramid, let's say here's a pyramid. If this is happy, then this is elated, and then this is euphoric. That is how we use happy, elated, euphoric. So if you're just happy, you can say, I'm happy. A little more happy, elated. Very, very happy, euphoric. Let's see how we can use it in the form of an example now. The first example that we have here is, Kunal was euphoric to see his family after spending 2 years studying in New York. Yes, that's true. Kunal is my very good friend who studies in New York and who just came back from New York. And now Kunal feels euphoric. Will Kunal feel just happy or elated or extremely happy? Kunal would definitely feel extremely happy after having spent so many years abroad and then coming back and seeing his family after such a long time. The next one is bad. Good, happy, funny, bad. Equally boring words, most commonly used. You can replace bad with second class and god awful. Well, a lot of people, you must have seen a lot of people saying, oh, it was a third class party. That means it was a very, very bad party. Instead of third class, which actually sounds quite rude, you can say it was a second class party, which means exactly the same. It was a bad party. It was a very bad party. Or you can say god awful, which equally means bad. For example, it was a second-class theater that we watched the film in. There were people howling, shouting, and it was quite dirty as well. So no sense of decorum. So you're talking about the theater using second class. The next one is, it was god-awful pizza. I will never buy it from that place anymore. So the pizza was good, bad, or another form of bad. The pizza was god-awful. It tastes weird and it wasn't fresh as well. So, god-awful being the replacement for bad. Let's have a look at the next phrase. The next one is small. What is small? Something that is teeny-weeny? Let's see how we can replace it using better words. We have itsy-bitsy or compact. What is it? Itsy-bitsy and compact. For example, she has these itsy bitsy little hands and feet. Probably you're talking about a baby girl who is just born, and you're talking about her hands and her feet. So you're saying she has these itsy bitsy hands and those itsy bitsy feet. Quite a quite a beautifully rhyming phrase to suggest something that is small. Another one is compact, which talks about the space that we are in. For example, what a compact office. How did you fit so much into so little space? So you're saying compact, replacing small with compact. Anything that is small in your life, say compact when it comes to spaces, basically. Smart. Well, everybody says smart this, smart that. But the alternative for this is quick-witted and brainy. We are not talking about how beautiful or handsome somebody is. We are talking about the intelligence of the person in this phrase, in this word, smart. Let's see how we can use smart. We can say the person is quick-witted or the person is brainy. Let's see some example. He is lively and quick-witted despite his age. So we are talking about a person who is actually maybe quite old, and we are saying despite his age, that person is quite lively and quick-witted. That means the person is quite smart. Another example for brainy is Sarah was not just beautiful but quite brainy as well. So Sarah is one woman who she's not just beautiful from the outer exterior of her body, but she's somebody who's intelligent and smart as well. And she's a brainy person. She's quite intelligent and smart too. This was about brainy. You can use brainy using these two words. Let us now move to the next slide, wherein we discuss the next word, which is huge. Huge, we are talking about the size of something. Everybody says huge this, huge that. You can say colossal instead. Now, this is one very creative word that I've done a lot of research on and found that this is something that can be used for each one of you in daily life. Colossal, anything that is huge is colossal. Anything that is towering is huge. Anything that is towering is huge. For example, I have a colossal amount of work to do. Please don't disturb me. A lot of work to do. Towering, let's see how we can use that. He has towering anger issues. He needs to see a psychologist. Towering here means a lot. High anger issues. And you're saying that that person actually needs to see a mind doctor, which is a psychologist. This was about huge. Let's move to the third most boring word that we have, and that is laughed. I laughed. Somebody said that, and I laughed. Well, there must be a lot of other phrases as well and words that you can use for that. And the one that I have for you is doubled up and cracked up. These are two phrasal verbs that you can use to say exactly the same thing. I laughed, I doubled up, I cracked up. Let's see some examples here. Billy started to double up with laughter when Harry talked about Professor Uli. Well, the name of the professor is quite interesting as well, Uli. Next example of cracked up is, I can't stop cracking up when I see Krishna in the Kapil Sharma show. A lot of people know about the Kapil Sharma show, and there is a person called Krishna. That person is really funny, and it actually is true for myself. I can't stop laughing when I see Krishna doing all of those idiotic things. I think it makes us laugh a lot, so it's really funny. So it is cracked up. Krishna cracks us up. Krishna cracked me up in past, or doubled up. Please make sure that you use these phrases to sound more interesting and not boring. The next one on the list is funny. Very casually used and very normally used everywhere. Funny, funny, funny. Let's change it. Wacky and hysterical. Please repeat after me. Wacky and hysterical. Something that is really funny is wacky. Something that is really funny, again, is hysterical. Example time. The film that I watched last night was quite wacky. The next one on the list is saw. Well, saw is the past of see here. Now, let's see how we can say saw in interesting ways. You can say glanced or you can say glimpsed. Now, if you see here, they're both in the past tense. And the present form of these two words is glance and glimpse. Example time. I glanced at what was happening on the road. Turns out it was just a drunk man shouting. I saw what was happening at the on the road, and I found out that there was just a drunk man who was shouting. So saw becomes glanced here. The next example is I glimpsed at her. I glimpsed at her. One very interesting thing. We do not say de, we say te. I glimpsed at her. Her energy was so positive and beautiful. Do you have one such person in your life that you glimpse often, that you look at often, and that person's energy is really beautiful and positive? Let us know in the comments below, please. The next one is said. Let's see how we can use said. First of all, the past of this is said, which is the past form of the word say. And we can say affirmed or retorted. You must be thinking nobody uses these words in daily life. Well, probably not with the people that you use, but I must tell you, these words are quite famous and a lot of people use them. So if you want to be in the culture and in the world of those people who speak good English, you must start using these words yourself. Let's see how we can use affirmed. To his teacher's rude comment, he retorted politely and got out of the room. So first retorted is coming. He retorted, that means he said politely, he said whatever he had to politely and got out of the room. The next example is, he affirmed he doesn't want to participate in any projects with his previous team anymore. Like, I like you. Well, such a boring way of saying and appreciating the people that I feel affectionate for. Let's see how we can say it in a different way. Soft spot and fancy. I fancy my YouTube family for their beautiful effort, for their very hard effort of working on their English. Or I have a soft spot for them. Let's see how we can use it in example. There's no denial that Mr. Brown has a soft corner for all his students. Mr. Brown is a professor and he likes all his students. The next one is, I fancy him from the very first day I saw him in class. So, like his fancy. Please start using it. Fancy is actually British English and is quite commonly used in Britain. So please do make sure that you use this and add this to your vocabulary. The next word in the list is ran. I ran. Ran is the past of run. The other ways of saying run is bolt or sprint. Now, I have some very funny examples for each one of you here. Let's have a look. As soon as I saw my best friend from school days, I bolted towards her to say hi. Well, I always had a soft corner for that best friend, and when I saw that person all grown up after so many days, I would not just walk. Will I walk? I will actually run to that person, right? So, and that is bolted. The past of bolt. I bolted towards that person. This was all about all those words that we have most commonly used and the most boring words that people use when it comes to speaking English. Please replace all of these words and speak better versions of them to sound more fluent and more charismatic. Thank you very much for being with me on this video. Lots of love and have a great day ahead.